ねえねえ、教えて、ヨコさん。
Tilt. The state of mind, body, and emotional distress that will hamper your ability to play properly. Symptoms include swearing, rage quitting, committing mistakes, and slamming certain pieces of hardware, such as your keyboard, controller, or even your monitor. It is an ugly thing, but it is part of many games that are very competitive. Be it a shooter, a fighting game, or hardcore content in MMORPGs, you will eventually tilt or start exhibiting the symptoms of tilt. In today's episode of Teach Me Yoko, however, this is about handling tilt in particular in fighting games. Before that, however, a brief explanation of tilt in fighting games and why it is specifically tilting to play fighting games. In other games like League of Legends, Valorant, World of Warcraft, the common ground is that if something goes wrong, you can blame somebody else, regardless if it really is their fault or not. In fighting games, however, in reality, you really only have yourself to blame. Now, despite a game having a bug or two, or maybe a character being broken, a part of you doesn't really blame that game, but it looks for someone to blame. And since that someone except you is absent, you blame yourself. This characteristic of fighting games is why it is very easy to tilt in particular in fighting games, and why tilt in these games can be on a different level to its other competitive counterparts. Now, hopefully, by the end of this video, you will be able to manage tilt. And I say manage because realistically, tilt is unavoidable. It is part of the nature of fighting games. So maybe the next time you tilt, it is not as bad. Or maybe you can stave off or weaken the storm, so to speak, so that it is not so daunting to deal with when it happens. Now, as someone who has played a fair amount of ranked in Tekken 7, Tekken 8, Guilty Gear Strive, Street Fighter 6, I have attended some local tournaments in Rev Major in particular. I have had to handle my fair share of tilt, or at least close to tilting in particular. Now, in my opinion, there are two ways to deal with tilt, before and after the event of tilting. Because the way I perceive tilt, it is a state or a process. It's not a singular event. So seeing someone yeet a controller, yell an expletive, rage quit, it's not tilting itself, but it is a sign or a symptom of tilt. Tilt has essentially kicked in at this point. Now, when dealing with tilt before the event of tilting, acknowledgement is very important here. You have to acknowledge several possible things. Perhaps you needed a better warm-up before your ranked run. Perhaps you needed to lab your worst matchups. Perhaps the current rank you are in is very daunting and you need a certain spice to make your level of gameplay sufficient for that ranked. It can be many things, but just like the 3 A's in my previous video, assess, assemble, action, that works here. Assess. In what manner are you losing? Is it through bad matchups, drop combos, careless mistakes? Are you missing very big punishes, or are your punishes not optimal? And then you assemble. So what is it most likely the reason you are losing? You gather all that data. Because again, you cannot be 100% sure. But you can be close to 100% sure why you are not doing so hot in ranked. Because when you're playing against a player, even if it's just one player, there are many reasons why you're losing, and some reasons may be a nothing burger. Like maybe your opponent is really good against your character. So no matter how hard you try, no matter what tricks you have in your bag, your opponent is just really well trained. They know what to expect, and that is already a big advantage for them. Or maybe they are using a straight up a really busted OP character that no matter how hard you try, no matter how many videos you watch, you really just cannot get past that power gate, which is understandable. Again, it can be many things. That's why we have to, instead of throwing darts randomly at a board of possibilities, let's try to minimize that. Let's make the target smaller so we can see what really is causing you to lose in this manner. And once you do, remedy it. Action. hit the lab. Look up some videos for guides for your character or your worst matchups. Check the match replay and take over. I mean, nowadays, a lot of fighting games have all the tools you need. But a part of you is maybe too lazy, or you just don't want to go through them to fix your play, right? Maybe in the middle of your ranked run, you are heated up, right? And you don't want that heat to ice down. So instead of taking the time to take a quick break and check the match replay, you just click, you just press, yeah, ranked match, let's go again. Acknowledgement and acceptance are two key things for dealing with tilt before the tilting event. Now, what do you do then when you have tilted? Honestly, the first important thing to do here is the harsh, cruel acceptance that you cannot win the way you are right now. Like, trying hard is not enough, because clearly you are trying very hard, but it's not enough. You persisted and you maybe had close matches. You tried to brute force your way into wins, but you cannot just attain those wins no matter how perfectly you played. That's why the 3As before the tilting event is very important. Did you really play perfect, right? How bad were your mistakes? At this point, you really have to get up physically, take a couple of deep breaths, and calm down. The best time for you to review the reasons why you lost, that was before you tilted, before you slammed your desk, before you yeeted something, before you said an expletive. The best time to assess, that was way past. Now you have to untilt, you have to calm down before any real resolution can take place. After all, if your mind is rattled and stressed, which it most likely is, any lessons you might learn, any data you are going to absorb or digest will most likely be forgotten, or worse, muddied by any frustration or stress you have. So turn off the game, play something else, take a 5-10 minute break, maybe have a snack or a bevy or both. Once you have calmed down, everything you have failed to do before the tilting event, review the replays, hit the lab, research, warm up, practice, now is the time to do that. In a sense, the aftermath of a tilting event is also the potential build-up before the next tilting event. So dealing with tilt before and after, in particular in this case after, it's very similar to dealing with tilt before it happens. You just have to calm down. Now, other than the two methods I mentioned, you also have to make peace with the fact that every ranked run you do is never guaranteed to be a good one or one with plenty of wins, right? Like, getting hit in the face will still hurt, but when you know it's happening, you can at least brace yourself. It's still gonna hurt, but when you know it's coming, it will hurt less, right? That is another essence of dealing with tilt before it happens. The loss of a match will still hurt. The sting, it will. But knowing that it is a possibility will make the blow, even if a teeny tiny little bit, less painful, and that already reduces your odds of tilting on a on a sequence or series of matches. I also have this personal rule of 3. If I lose 3 times in a row in very heartbreaking fashion, I take a break. I take a 5-10 minute break, deep breaths, walk around the room, then we start the grind again once I have calmed down. In my opinion, dealing with tilt is not a secret art or technique. A lot of it really is honest introspection, acceptance, and temperance. I say this as best I can, not in a way to make it sound easy, because it really isn't. It's not easy. But in a way to show or express that anyone is capable of doing this. Like, literally, us normal rank runners, we have to deal with tilt, the same amount of tilt, maybe slightly less, but we still have to deal with tilt in general as much as people competing in the Capcom Pro Tour, World Warrior, or even in your locals. Everyone has to deal with tilt in some shape or form. And I believe you can deal with tilt. It's not easy, right? But when it's not easy, that means that you have to try harder and exert more effort than you might think. It's harsh, and yes, it's kind of cruel, but if you truly want to stop tilting, if you really want to find a zen and make peace with yourself, you really need to exert effort and try in your heart of hearts to really do try stopping yourself from tilting. Games nowadays, especially fighting games, there are many tools available that can prevent tilt or help you deal with tilt. I genuinely hope this helps. Let me know in the comments what is the next thing you'd like me to teach you in the next episode of Teach Me Yoko. And of course, if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Till then, have a good day and have a fun gaming, Foxtrot.